Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare Lincoln Wheat Pennies coin that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're shining the spotlight on one of America's most iconic pennies, the Lincoln Wheat Penny from 1944. But this isn't just any 1944 penny. This coin has a story filled with rarity, intrigue, and a jaw-dropping value that every collector dreams of. So, listen up closely, because you won't want to miss a single detail about this incredible piece of American numismatic history. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, first introduced in 1909, quickly became a staple of American currency. Its classic design featuring Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and two stalks of wheat on the reverse is beloved by collectors worldwide. The year 1944, in particular, is a fascinating chapter for this penny. It was minted during the final years of World War II, a time when the United States was deeply involved in global conflict, and every penny was more than just money. It was a symbol of resilience and hope. Now, what makes the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny so extraordinary? Most 1944 pennies were struck in the traditional copper alloy. However, during the war years of 1943 and 1944, the U.S. Mint was experimenting with different metals due to copper shortages. In 1943, pennies were made from zinc-coated steel to save copper for the war effort. Then, in 1944, the Mint switched back to mostly copper pennies, but not all pennies followed this rule. Here lies the secret. A very small number of 1944 pennies were mistakenly struck on leftover 1943 steel planchets, the metal discs used to make coins. This error created what collectors call the 1944 steel cent, an incredibly rare anomaly because it looks vastly different from normal 1944 pennies. Instead of the warm copper color, these coins have a silver-gray steel appearance, making them stand out dramatically in any collection. Finding a 1944 steel cent is like discovering a needle in a haystack. These error coins are extremely rare because the Mint quickly caught and corrected the mistake. Very few of these coins ever escaped into circulation, and even fewer remain in collectible condition today. Their rarity alone has made them highly coveted by numismatists and history enthusiasts alike, but rarity is just the start. What really propels the value of this coin is its condition and provenance. A 1944 steel penny that's well preserved with sharp details can command prices that seem almost unbelievable. Collectors prize coins that have been carefully preserved, free from corrosion or damage, which is especially impressive for a coin made of steel, as it is prone to rust. Now, here's something else that makes this penny a true treasure. There are documented cases of this coin appearing with unique die errors, small variations in the design caused during the minting process. Some of these error coins have double dies, where parts of the design appear to be duplicated or shadowed. Others show slight misstrikes or off-center impressions. These errors are rare even among the rare steel cents and add another level of excitement and value. Imagine owning a piece of history that not only tells a story of America during wartime but also stands as a testament to a remarkable minting mistake that has become a prized collector's item. The 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny steel cent isn't just a coin, it's a conversation starter, a valuable investment, and a glimpse into the past, all rolled into one tiny piece of metal. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the value. If you happen to own a 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny struck on steel, especially in excellent condition or with unique errors, your coin could be worth an astonishing $98,000, yes, $98,000 for a single penny. So next time you stumble upon an old penny, take a moment to look closely. You might just be holding a rare treasure that could change your collecting game forever. Top 2, we're diving into the fascinating story of a classic American coin, the 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny. But this isn't just any penny from 1940. This particular coin carries a legacy of rarity, unique errors, and an astonishing value that will blow your mind. So, if you're a true coin lover or just curious about what makes some coins worth so much, listen carefully and enjoy this journey into the world of the 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny. The Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of the most iconic coins in American history. Introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, the penny's design stayed remarkably consistent for decades. The 1940 issue comes from a time when the United States was on the brink of entering World War II, a period charged with tension and hope. But while millions of these pennies were minted, some coins from 1940 have become incredibly rare, and highly sought after by collectors. What makes the 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny stand out in the numismatic world? It's all about rarity and those fascinating mint errors that coin collectors can't get enough of. You see, the 1940 penny was produced in large numbers, but there are a few key varieties and errors that make certain examples exceptionally valuable. One of the most famous variations is the so-called 1940 D double die obverse. This means the coin's front side shows a doubling effect, particularly noticeable on the date and the word Liberty. This doubling is not a design flaw but a minting error caused when the coin's die struck the blank planchet twice with a slight misalignment. This makes the coin look like it has a shadow or ghost image, which is incredibly prized by collectors for its rarity and distinctiveness. There's also the 1940s small date and 1940s large date versions, which refer to slight differences in the size and shape of the date numerals. Some collectors chase these subtle variations because they reflect changes in the minting process and can influence a coin's value dramatically. Now, imagine this. Coins from 1940 that have survived decades in pristine, uncirculated condition, shining, crisp, and untouched by wear. These are incredibly rare. Most pennies that old show signs of heavy circulation. Finding a 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny with sharp details and no damage is like discovering a hidden treasure. The demand for these coins among collectors is incredibly high because they're so hard to come by in such excellent condition. Beyond the known varieties, some 1940 pennies exhibit unique errors such as off-center strikes, die cracks, or even double striking. These rare mistakes happen during the minting process and create one-of-a-kind coins that stand out in any collection. Collectors love these quirky imperfections because they add a layer of mystery and exclusivity. So, if you've ever wondered what makes a coin valuable, here's a quick tip: it's not just the age or the metal, but the story behind the coin, its rarity, and those tiny little mistakes that happened more than 80 years ago in a bustling mint. And now, the exciting part, the value. If you own a 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny, especially one with the double die obverse or other unique errors, and it's in near-perfect condition, this coin could be worth a staggering $118,000, yes, $118,000 for a single penny. So next time you come across an old penny, don't overlook it. Take a closer look, because you might be holding a priceless piece of history in your hand. Top 3, we're going to dive deep into one of America's most iconic and beloved coins, the 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Now, you might be thinking, it's just a penny, right? Well, hold on tight, because this particular penny has a story filled with rarity, minting mysteries, and a value that could absolutely blow your mind. So whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just curious about coins, listen very carefully and enjoy this detailed exploration into the 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Let's start with a little background. The Lincoln Wheat Penny was first introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a president's portrait and remained in circulation for nearly 50 years. The design on the front, or obverse, shows the solemn profile of Lincoln, and the back features 2 ears of wheat, symbolizing prosperity. The 1953 penny falls into the later years of this classic design's life before it was replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial design. Now, 1953 might not immediately stand out as a landmark year in coin collecting to most people because millions of pennies were minted that year. However, not all pennies from 1953 are created equal. Some variations and errors from this year make certain 1953 pennies incredibly rare and extremely valuable. One of the most notable varieties collectors seek is the 1953 double die penny. What is a double die? Great question. During the minting process, the design on the die, the tool used to strike the image onto the coin, can sometimes be impressed twice, slightly misaligned. This causes parts of the coin's design, such as the date or lettering, to appear doubled or shadowed. On the 1953 penny, this doubling is often visible on the date numbers and the word Liberty, creating a striking and unmistakable look. This error wasn't intentional, it was simply a mistake during manufacturing, but today, it's one of the most sought-after features in the coin collecting world. What makes this double die error so fascinating is not just its rarity but how it tells a story about the mint's production process over 60 years ago. Imagine the chaos, the manual work, and the delicate machinery involved, and how a tiny slip caused a coin to become an instant treasure decades later. But the double die isn't the only interesting error you'll find in 1953 pennies. Some coins from this year show what are known as die cracks or die chips. Over time, the steel dies used to strike coins develop small cracks or chips, and when they press into a coin, they leave raised lines or bumps that shouldn't be there. These die cracks add character to the coin and are prized by collectors because no two cracks are exactly alike. It's like each cracked coin tells its own unique story. Now, you might be wondering how rare these error coins actually are. The truth is, while millions of pennies were minted in 1953, only a small fraction have these double dies or notable die cracks, and even fewer have survived in excellent, collectible condition. The majority of pennies from that era were heavily circulated, often worn down, scratched, or damaged. So finding a 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny that's both an error coin and in near-perfect condition is a remarkable find, often turning up only in the hands of serious collectors. Speaking of condition, the grading of coins is extremely important in determining value. Coins graded as mint state or uncirculated, meaning they show no signs of wear and have sharp details, command much higher prices than circulated coins. A 1953 double die penny in mint state can easily fetch thousands of dollars more than a worn example. Add in those rare die cracks, and the value jumps even higher. But why do collectors place such high value on these pennies? Well, rarity is one thing, but history, uniqueness, and the thrill of the hunt make these coins priceless to enthusiasts. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that was minted during a transformative time in American history, the post-World War II boom, and that coin carries an error that only a handful of people in the world own. It's a tangible connection to the past, a piece of art with a story, and a rare collectible that could appreciate in value for generations. Now, let's talk numbers, the moment many of you have been waiting for. How much could a rare 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny be worth today? Especially if it's one of those double die varieties, or has an interesting die crack, and is in excellent condition. The answer is truly staggering. Some of these coins have sold at auction and private sales for as much as $86,000. That's right, $86,000 for a single 1-cent coin. It's hard to believe, but when you consider the rarity, the historical significance, and the condition, it starts to make sense why collectors are willing to pay such incredible sums. So, next time you come across a handful of pennies, don't just toss them in a jar or use them for everyday spending. Take a moment, look closely at the date and the lettering. Check for any doubling or strange markings, and you might just be holding a hidden treasure. Top 4. We're stepping way back into American history to explore an absolute classic, the 1917 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Now, this isn't just any penny from the early 20th century. The 1917 Lincoln Wheat Penny holds incredible rarity, some fascinating mint errors, and a value that can truly take your breath away. So, whether you're a seasoned numismatist or someone who just loves uncovering hidden treasures, listen closely and enjoy this deep dive into the 1917 Lincoln Wheat Penny. First, a little background to set the scene. The Lincoln Wheat Penny was introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, America's 16th president. It was a groundbreaking design for its time, featuring the first-ever portrait of a president on a circulating coin, crafted by the famous sculptor Victor David Brenner. The reverse side proudly displayed 2 ears of wheat, symbolizing prosperity and growth, making it affectionately known as the Wheat Penny. By 1917, this penny was already an established symbol of American coinage, circulating widely during a turbulent time in history marked by World War I. Now, while millions of these pennies were produced that year, the 1917 Lincoln Wheat Penny holds special status among collectors for several reasons. It's not just about age. The key to its value lies in its rarity, unique mint errors, and the condition of surviving coins. One of the standout features of the 1917 penny is a fascinating variety known as the 1917 D/S. This error is a bit of a numismatic mystery and a dream for collectors. It happened when the Denver Mint, where the coin was struck, reused old dies bearing the S mint mark from the San Francisco Mint. The result? You get a coin where the letter S is stamped over the D mint mark in a visible way. This mint mark doubling or overstrike error is incredibly rare and highly coveted because it's a window into the minting process itself, a rare snapshot of a production anomaly. In addition to this over mint mark variety, the 1917 Lincoln Wheat Penny is also known for other minting errors like double dies and repunched dates. A double die error occurs when the coin's design is stamped twice in slightly different positions, causing the date or lettering to appear doubled. It's a fascinating quirk that collectors love because it makes each coin unique and tells a story about the mint's machinery and procedures from over a century ago. Repunched dates, another intriguing error, happen when the date was stamped more than once on the coin's die, leaving traces of overlapping numbers. On the 1917 penny, this can make the date look blurry or show faint shadows of numbers, which is a rarity that attracts collectors who want something unusual and distinct. But what really separates the 1917 Lincoln Wheat Penny from the rest is how few of these coins survive today in excellent condition. Most pennies from that era were heavily circulated, worn smooth, or lost entirely. Finding a 1917 wheat penny with crisp details, sharp features, and minimal wear is like finding a needle in a haystack. The rarity of such well-preserved coins combined with their historical significance makes them highly valuable to collectors around the world. Collectors don't just value these coins for their monetary worth. Each coin is a tangible piece of history, minted during a time when the world was engulfed in war and America was shaping its future. Holding a 1917 Lincoln Wheat Penny is like holding a small, metal time capsule. It carries stories of past hands that used it, the struggles and hopes of a nation, and the craftsmanship of an era long gone. Now, I know you're probably wondering, what's the value of this extraordinary coin? How much could a rare 1917 Lincoln Wheat Penny, especially one with unique mint errors and in near-perfect condition, actually be worth? Well, here's the jaw-dropping answer. Some of these rare 1917 wheat pennies, particularly the D/S mint mark varieties and those with notable doubling or repunched dates, have been known to sell for as much as $266,000. Yes, you heard that right, $266,000 for a single 1-cent coin. It's amazing to think that something so small and seemingly ordinary could hold such incredible value. It just goes to show the power of rarity, history, and the passion of coin collectors worldwide. So, next time you stumble across an old penny, especially one from the early 1900s, take a moment to examine it closely. You never know, you might be holding a treasure that's worth far more than you ever imagined. Top 5, we're diving deep into a fascinating piece of American numismatic history, the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny. You might think a penny from 1950 is just an everyday coin, but let me tell you, this small copper disc has some incredible stories to tell, rare errors that make it extremely valuable, and a price tag that could leave you speechless. If you're a coin collector or just love discovering hidden treasures, listen carefully and enjoy this detailed journey into the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny. The Lincoln Wheat Penny has been a staple in American coinage since its introduction in 1909. It was created to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, and its design, with Lincoln's portrait on the front and the iconic wheat ears on the back, remained in use until 1958. The 1950 penny, struck right in the middle of this long run, may seem ordinary, but there's much more than meets the eye when you look closer. In 1950, the United States was experiencing a post-war boom, and millions of these pennies were minted for circulation. But within that massive production run hides an incredibly rare variety that collectors dream about, the 1950 double-die Lincoln Wheat Penny. This minting error is one of the key reasons why this coin stands out and commands such high value. So, what exactly is a double-die error? Well, during the minting process, the coin's die, the metal stamp that imprints the design onto the blank coin, was accidentally struck twice, but slightly misaligned the second time. This causes the date, letters, or other design elements to appear doubled, creating a striking and unusual effect that's immediately noticeable if you look closely. On the 1950 penny, this doubling can appear on the date and on key inscriptions like "Liberty" or "In God We Trust." These double die coins are incredibly rare because most of the coins produced that year were struck correctly, and many of the double die examples were likely caught and removed from circulation. The ones that escaped detection and ended up in the hands of collectors are now highly prized. The rarity and uniqueness of this error coin make it a real gem for collectors and historians alike, but the double die is just the beginning. Other interesting variations and mint errors from 1950 include repunched mint marks and die cracks. A repunched mint mark happens when the mint mark, such as the D for Denver, is stamped more than once in slightly different positions, creating a layered or shadowed effect. Die cracks, on the other hand, occur when the metal die develops small fractures, resulting in raised lines or bumps on the coin's surface. Both of these errors add character and rarity to the coin, making it a must-have for serious collectors. The condition of these coins also plays a massive role in their value. A well-preserved 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny with clear doubling and minimal wear can fetch prices exponentially higher than a worn, circulated example. Coin grading experts look at sharpness of detail, luster, and any signs of wear to determine a coin's grade, and this directly affects how much collectors are willing to pay. Imagine holding a coin minted over 70 years ago, bearing an error so rare that only a handful exist. It's not just money, it's a piece of history, a story frozen in metal. For collectors, finding such a coin is like striking gold. Now, let's get to the exciting part. How much is this treasure worth? For a 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny with that rare double die error, in excellent condition, the value can soar to an astonishing $266,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $266,000 for a single penny. It's amazing to think that something so small and seemingly ordinary could be worth such an incredible amount. But that's the beauty of coin collecting. The combination of history, rarity, and unique minting quirks can turn the simplest coin into a priceless treasure. So, next time you dig through a jar of pennies, take a moment to really look at those little coins. You might be holding a piece of history that could change your life forever. Top 6, we're diving into the fascinating world of one of America's most iconic coins, the 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny. At first glance, it might look like an everyday penny, but for those in the know, the 1951 Wheat Penny holds some incredible secrets, rare minting errors, and a value that could blow your mind. Whether you're a serious collector or just a curious treasure hunter, listen closely and enjoy this detailed look at why the 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny is such a prized piece. Let's set the stage. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, first introduced in 1909, was created to honor Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday and was the first circulating U.S. coin to feature a president's portrait. The obverse side shows Lincoln's iconic profile, while the reverse displays two stalks of wheat symbolizing prosperity. By 1951, this design was still going strong, with millions minted for everyday use across the United States. Despite the huge number of coins produced that year, the 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny is far from ordinary. What makes certain examples stand out and become valuable are rare minting errors and variations that only a handful of coins possess. These errors make the coin a prized possession for collectors. One of the most exciting features collectors look for on the 1951 penny is the famous double die error. This mistake happens during the coin striking process when the design is stamped twice slightly off-center, causing certain elements, like the date or the word "Liberty," to appear doubled or shadowed. The 1951 double die penny is incredibly rare and instantly recognizable thanks to this distinct echo effect. For collectors, spotting this error is like uncovering a hidden gem, but that's not all. Another fascinating feature is the repunched mint mark. If your 1951 penny has a D mint mark from the Denver Mint, take a close look. Some coins were struck with a mint mark that was punched more than once in slightly different positions, creating a layered or shadowed effect that collectors love. This subtle detail makes a coin unique and can significantly boost its value. In addition to these, there are also die cracks and die chips that can add to a coin's rarity. These tiny fractures or imperfections on the coin's surface happen when the steel die used to strike the coin develops flaws over time. Each crack or chip leaves a unique raised line or bump on the coin, giving it a distinctive character and story. Collectors prize these coins because no two are alike. Condition plays a massive role in a coin's value. While many 1951 pennies were circulated and show signs of wear, the real money is in those that have been preserved in near mint or uncirculated condition. Coins with sharp details, original luster, and minimal marks or scratches can fetch significantly higher prices than worn examples. The grading process carefully evaluates these features to determine a coin's worth. Now, imagine holding a piece of history minted over 70 years ago, an era marked by post-World War II recovery and the beginning of new American prosperity. Holding a rare 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny with any of these mint errors and in excellent condition is like holding a small time capsule, connecting you to that moment in history. So, how much can a rare 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny be worth? Especially one with those sought-after double die errors or repunched mint marks and preserved in top condition. Here's the incredible truth: some of these rare coins have been known to sell for as much as $89,000. Yes, you heard that right, $89,000 for a single 1-cent coin. It's a testament to how a simple penny, with its tiny quirks and errors, can turn into a highly coveted treasure that collectors worldwide cherish. So, next time you find yourself sorting through coins, take a moment to look closely at those little pennies. You just might be holding a piece of American history that could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Top 7 and last rare coin, we're turning the spotlight on a classic piece of American numismatic history, the 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny. It might seem like just an ordinary penny from nearly a century ago, but trust me, this coin holds some extraordinary secrets, rare mint errors, and a value that could surprise even the most seasoned collectors. So sit back, listen closely, and enjoy this deep dive into why the 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny is such a prized treasure. To start, let's travel back to the 1930s. The Lincoln Wheat Penny was well established by then, having been introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln's centennial. The obverse features Lincoln's profile, while the reverse proudly shows 2 stalks of wheat, symbolizing America's agricultural roots and prosperity. By 1937, these pennies were everyday currency, changing hands across the country during a decade marked by recovery from the Great Depression. While millions of 1937 wheat pennies were minted, there are a few rare varieties and errors from this year that have made certain examples exceptionally valuable to collectors worldwide. One of the most famous is the 1937 double die obverse penny. This error happens when the coin's design is stamped twice, but slightly misaligned during the minting process. The result? The date and inscriptions like "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" appear doubled, creating a striking and unusual visual effect that immediately catches a collector's eye. This double die error is rare and highly sought after because it's a fascinating glimpse into the minting process, showing exactly how a small misstep can turn a normal coin into something truly unique. Coins with this error from 1937 are prized not only for their rarity but also for their stunning appearance, with the doubled letters and numbers almost popping off the coin's surface. But that's not the only reason the 1937 penny is special. There's also a lesser-known variety from the San Francisco Mint that features a S mint mark placed slightly off-center or repunched. This repunched mint mark variety is another treasure for collectors because it shows a subtle minting anomaly that makes the coin one of a kind. Spotting this requires a keen eye and a good magnifier, but once you know what to look for, it can be incredibly rewarding. Die cracks and die chips are also common in coins from this era, including the 1937 penny. These occur when the metal dies used to strike coins develop small fractures or imperfections. The result is raised lines or bumps on the coin's surface, adding character and uniqueness. For collectors, these die cracks tell a story of the coin's journey through the mint's machinery, making each coin with such an error a miniature piece of history. Now, condition is everything when it comes to coin collecting. Most 1937 pennies you'll find have been circulated and show signs of wear, smooth edges, faded details, and scratches. But those that remain in pristine, uncirculated condition with sharp details and original luster are incredibly rare. The combination of rarity, condition, and unique mint errors makes these pennies extremely desirable and valuable. Imagine holding a coin that's nearly a century old, carrying the history of America's past, with minting quirks that make it truly unique. For collectors, owning such a piece is like holding a small slice of time, an artifact that connects the present to the past. So, what does all this rarity and historical significance add up to in terms of value? Well, a 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny with those rare double die errors or distinctive mintmark varieties, and in excellent condition, can command an incredible price. Some of these rare 1937 wheat pennies have been known to fetch as much as $167,000. Yes, that's right, $167,000 for a single penny. It's remarkable how such a small, humble coin can carry such immense value, driven by its rarity, errors, condition, and the passion of collectors worldwide. So next time you find yourself with a handful of pennies, take a closer look at those little coins. You might just be holding a priceless piece of American history. Thanks for joining me on this fascinating exploration of the 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more amazing coin stories, and ring that notification bell so you never miss out on our latest discoveries. Until next time, keep your eyes sharp, your collections growing, and happy coin hunting.